This is a MISC Starfarer Gemini, and it basically is a flying brick. It has no aerodynamics at all, and it solely relies on its thrusters to basically get some lift and get away from a planet's gravity. And today we are going to take it for a spin. We're actually going to try to see if we can trade with this. Hello, welcome to the channel, everybody. This is the Eradicator, and yeah, today we are going to try what some people think is impossible, and we'll see. We'll see about that. If it is really worth it, if it's really that difficult. We are going to take this Starfarer for a tour. We are here at Lorville. You might have recognized the industrial feel of the lore of Tiza Spaceport hangar, and we are going to get into that pilot seat right here. Call the ATC. They're going to open that hangar door above us. Press F11 for that. That's where you get to this tab here. Press friends. I don't know why they are all friends, but I suppose it works. We are going. Oops. Oh my goodness, this just fell. Sorry about this. The microphone just fell. And all right. And so we are going to go to Ariel, as you could see, which is where you can find some of the most profitable wares around Hurston. Gonna have to wait until the door is properly opened, and then we'll be making our way. I'm using the external view. As you can see, oh my goodness, you can see the thrusters here, thrusters at full power. It's really difficult to take off. The Starfarer is really having serious issues, especially with the new flight mechanics introduced in Star Citizen Alpha 3.10. And seems like we are able somewhat to make it. Are we gonna get stuck here? That's always the problem, especially in the third person. Oh, a little bit stuck here. We touched something. Let's try to get out. This is my fault. I should have done that in first-person view. Let's try to reverse the course a little bit. And yeah, the next problem is, of course, the doors are going to be closing really soon, so we want to be getting out of here as soon as possible. All right, seems like we managed to get away from this. I am really putting all the power to my thrusters here so that I can get out of here. Now the next problem is, where are the splines? Because if you just randomly leave Tiza Spaceport, your ship is going to eventually be taken over by the autopilot, or eventually blow up. So that's not something that we want. Seems like there's something on the radar that indicates me where to go. Are these the splines? I'm going to follow that line here. Yes, this seems like the splines are indicated in the radar. That's wonderful. So let's get inside that tunnel. There is my vector indicator that just came in, and we're going to do it very slowly and steadily here. I'm using all the options that I have. I'm using the afterburner, I'm using strafe up, I'm strafe left, strafe right, just to make sure that I am right in the middle of that tunnel. And it really is difficult. Seems like we just need to go full steam dead ahead, so that's what we're going to do right here. Here we go, just getting out of the tunnel. And even if, as you can see, I'm using the afterburner here, and the ship is moving very slowly here at barely 100 meters per second. And well, that's not really a surprise. That's also how it was in the previous builds. The new thing though is that even if I have the cruise control, you can see that little arrow on top of the HUD. Even with the cruise control, the ship still tends to be leaning towards the surface, so I always have to reverse course, or at least to correct my course, and make sure that I head towards this this inclination of about 60 degrees, which is about right to be leaving the atmosphere as quickly as possible while having as much speed as possible. And by speed, this is really a big word here. We're down to 71-ish meter per second. That is really slow, but very soon we'll be in a moment, I should have said, in a moment we will be at about 10,000 meters of altitude, which is when the quantum drive starts to be functioning, and we'll be able to select or destination. So using the little bit of the afterburner. You can't use the afterburner a little bit too much. I think that I should maybe have better coolers. I think that if you have the best coolers for the Starfarer, you can use the afterburner a little bit longer. But it's not worth the money, because you're just gaining a few seconds. So you're gonna have maybe to use the Starfarer for 2 or 3 years until finally you get your return on investment. It's just not worth it. So, let's just make sure we are not overeating, because that would really be bad. Basically, if we are overheating, oh no, we did overheat, and you can see how quickly, because of its mass, how quickly the ship is losing speed. Fortunately, the thrusters were back online very quickly. So yeah, let's just not play with the devil, and you can see that it definitely is taking quite a while until we get to 10,000 meters, and we'll be there very soon. As soon as we're there, we'll be able to go to Ariel, and once we are at 10,000 meters, then of course we're also going to have to change the direction of the ship to move it toward Ariel. That is also going to be complicated. I know, for example, if you are doing that with a freelancer, the ship is bouncing towards every direction, so that's really not ideal. Anyway, talking to people in the chat. All right, we are above 10,000 meters. So now it is time. As soon as I finish chatting with the, I like to talk with people, guys. If you are with me in my servers, I always try to be communicative with all of you. I just like the interaction. And luckily, Ariel was dead ahead, so that we are not going to have to move the ship very far. But you can see that with that jerk that is being introduced in Star Citizen Alpha 3.10, the ship is of course more difficult to maneuver. But yeah, we'll be going into quantum travel right now. There we go. Fortunately, yeah, it has a large size 3 quantum drive, so with that big quantum drive, the time to spool is not really that long, so we can jump into quantum drive rather quickly, I would say. Anyway, here is Ariel, the beautiful yellow marble around Hurston. And there are only 2 outposts here for those of you who are new to Star Citizen and don't really know what is going on around the Stanton system. Only 2 outposts here, but those 2 outposts can be very lucrative if you go there on a regular basis. I selected Best Deck. You can also go to Lathan. They all offer the same kind of commodities, so that's not really a big deal. And so we are going to make our approach. I just hope that we are not going to go there at night, because visibility at night is usually not fantastic, and it looks like it is going to be at night. That's going to make things a little bit more complicated, but that's okay, because Ariel is also very beautiful at night. Ariel has this beautiful, indigo blue hue at night, which is very, very unique to it looks very peaceful, relaxing. It's very hot down there. It's going to be well above 200 degrees Celsius though, but it always had these incredible color patterns that I think is one of my favorite places to go, despite the hellish conditions here on the surface. So what I always do, I always turn on the quantum drive so I can have an idea of how close I am towards the outpost. And when I'm at about 15 kilometers, which was the case here, I start to reduce speed, especially with the Starfarer, because the Starfarer is very heavy. It doesn't have any aerodynamic capabilities. Luckily here on Ariel, gravity is much lower than what it is on Hurston, so that means that the ship still has some kind of maneuverability that's not going to have around Hurston. Nevertheless, you still don't want to crash your ship on the surface, simply because I've already spent 8 minutes and 30 seconds since I took off at Lorville, and I don't want to be wasting that time again. When you are trading, time is money, so you always need to be on the lookout for ways to avoid wasting time, and not crashing your ship is one way to not waste time. From time to time, since we don't really have a visual, it's always good to use the quantum drive just to see how far you go. About 5 kilometers, it seems. So very soon it's going to be time to bring down the landing gear and reduce speed once more, so that we can make a nice approach. I'm going to try to make the smoothest landing possible. There you go, landing down. And I'm going to try to make the smoothest landing possible, because I have a feeling that when we will get back to Lorville later, it is not going to be smooth at all. I've never flown before with a Starfarer in Star Citizen Alpha 3.10, not even in a PDU, so this is a first for me. I am discovering this with you guys right here. So here there are a couple of landing pads. There are 2 of them. There's a medium-sized one and a large-sized one. With a Starfarer, given its poor maneuvering capabilities, I think that it is going to be a little bit wiser to take the large pad. So we'll be going for the large pad here. Let's see how it is located. Seems like it's going to be on the side. This is the medium one that's dead ahead of us, and the large one is going to be on our 9. So I'm making this maneuver here to be perfectly aligned, once again using the side thrusters here, strafing right, and at the same time reducing speed to about 25 meters per second is about good enough to make this maneuver. And I'm gonna have to make sure that the vector indicator that you can see moving around is going to be well located here. I'm gonna have to make it a little bit closer to probably -5 right here. And here we're gonna reduce course for a smooth landing. There we go. That was not bad of a landing after all, right? But again, landing on the moon with low gravity such as Ariel is easy. Landing on the planet with high gravity like Hurston, that's something else. Anyway, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to, of course, trade, and we'll be back in the ship later. So, when you are here at Bezdek or Lathan, what you have to buy, let's select the Starfarer first. It's working. You have Laranite. This is what you need to buy here. Laranite, it's pretty expensive, pricey here. Obviously, a lot of people are trading that, so just buy whatever you can. And usually, it's best to complement that with some titanium, and that's exactly what we are doing here. So, we've got a little bit under 400,000 Alpha UECs worth of cargo in this Starfarer. That's going to add a little bit of pressure when we are going to make our way back to Lorville a little bit later. Alright, back in the ship here. You can see I'm going towards the Comoray because now Comorays are very close to planets. And if for example, if you can really go to the planet itself or the station around, the Comoray is also a good option. You can see here I still need to fly a little bit towards Hurston, but it's really not a big distance, and very soon you are going to see that all of the outposts are going to show up. There you go, right? It just took a few seconds, and all of the different spawn locations, not spawn locations, but quantum travel locations on the surface of Hurston were available. So no worries. Let's just look for Lorville. There you go. There's this cluster of icons here. We got the little triangular icon. This is the landing zone, at least the main landing zone. And so that is where we'll be going. A little bit of pressure here. Again, guys, let's remember that there are about 400,000 Alpha UEC worth of cargo in that Starfarer, because I wouldn't do that for, for nothing, of course. That's not fun. It is a little bit more fun if there is some risk involved, and so I decided to do this for you guys. Let's just hope that the ship is not going to spin out of control, because these are things that do happen from time to time as we approach landing zone via quantum travel. It seems like we are doing all right. We're just gonna have to turn the ship upside down. Okay, so far so good, and this is the fun part, guys. At least, I was a bit critical of those big orange lights, which I do still think look quite ugly. They definitely need to refine that a little bit, because they look a little bit too cartoonish for me. But at least it's a good indication that tells us, where to go, because you can see that the slope here, the slope of the Hurston dynamic leans toward Tisa Spaceport, which is where we're going. So it's a good indication. It tells us where Tisa Spaceport is located. It is basically dead ahead of us. And let me try here, because I really want to get the ATC to give me the spline as quickly as possible. That's my biggest fear here. Given the poor maneuverability of the ship, and especially its size and weight, my biggest fear is that the spline will come a little bit too late, and that I will not be able to maneuver the ship early enough to be able to get to enter the tunnel. So that's why I will be regularly checking on whether or not I can contact the ATC. Seemed like I could hear a voice, so let's see if it works here. All right, there it is. So let's contact the ATC right now, and let's see where the spline is going to be located. So it should be appearing. All right, look at that. It is dead ahead of us. That is going to be convenient for sure. We won't need to do some crazy maneuver. What we are going to do though is to try to reduce speed, and as I'm reducing speed, you can see the ship is being dragged toward the surface. So once again, I have to use my thrusters at full power. I am making sure that I am strafing up as I am moving forward as well, just to make sure that the ship is not going down while it is making its way into the spline tunnel. All right, here we go. Looks like we are having ourselves a nice little vector. Let's just make sure that the vector indicator is properly aligned with that circle here, which marks the end of the tunnel. Looks like we are doing all right. Okay, it's funny because when you have the third-person view, you can't really see the splines anymore. And now the next challenging part, as soon as we are out of the spline right here, is to find where the hangar is located, and that is going to be quite of a challenge. Let's try. Oh my goodness, I am really heading towards the ground. I'm using full power up. All right, so far we are not crushing. Let's remember, guys. Oh my goodness, what is going on? This is really a miracle. What is going on here? I managed to reverse course. The hangar should be located. Where is it? Oh, it's right here. Okay, it's on my 2. So let's try to really have the smoothest approach possible. I'm gonna try to regain altitude, but once again, given the poor maneuverability of the ship, its weight, and also the thrusters, which is quite weak, it doesn't have any VTOL capabilities. So it is a struggle, guys. I am really struggling to maintain course. You can see the vector indicator is as high as possible. I'm doing that because if I don't do that, the ship will inexorably be attracted towards the surface, which could eventually result in the ship blowing up. Remember that we have about 400,000 Alpha UC. Oh no, the door is closing. The door is closing. This is really bad. Let's try to get it, and I'm afraid the ship is stuck inside the door. Let's try to let's make sure that the door I'm not going to close on the ship. Okay, I have somehow landed on top of the door, so the ship seems to be secured. Was a little bit too slow, unfortunately. It seems like CIG is going to have to adjust the length in order for, you know, heavier ships to be able to land. So let's call the ATC. I hope that they are going to open the doors again. Yes, they are opening the doors again. Whew, that is a relief. I will be able to take off, just hover above the hangar, and as soon as the doors are open, we'll try to get it. Hopefully the ship will not get stuck inside one of the doors. Come on, it's really difficult. If you remember how we were able to take off earlier at the beginning of this video, the ship really has major difficulties to take off. Seems like we are inside. Let's just fall down. The landing gears are on. The shields are also helping, not crushing, and that is a successful landing, guys. We made it. We managed to secure a hull of 400,000 Alpha UEC with a Starfarer, and we landed at Lorville. Guys, I have to tell you, this was the most difficult thing that I have ever done in Star Citizen. Really. I wish that you guys could see me. I was not live stream, but my face is literally drenched in sweat. That is how hard and scary that thing was. But in the end, the result is, I wouldn't say very satisfying, because, you know, the door didn't give me enough time to land. But I really do have a sense of pride and accomplishment as I am leaving this Starfarer with the ship in one piece and the cargo later going to be sold at the CBD. That is all for this video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed today's content. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons if you want to see content like that on a regular basis. This has been the Eradicator, and I'll see you guys later.